Good day, it's JJ MMA. Today, we are going to be breaking down the UFC Fight Night that will be taking place this weekend on Saturday at the Apex, Bonfim versus Belal Muhammad, and we're going to start off with the early prelims and end with the main event. And ahead of us, we've got a pretty solid card. It was a very good card, but I will tell you that a lot of fighters did pull out of this. Jakub Wicklacz pulling out against Marcus McGhee. We had Victor Henry pulling out against Bryce Mitchell, but Bryce Mitchell has probably what is a better opponent than Victor Henry now. But we'll talk about that later in the video. We're going to start off with the first prelim of the night, Souza versus Carnelossi. I don't have much to say about this one. Carnelossi looks like Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs. I'm going to pick Souza by dominant decision. I feel like, she's going to be more physical. She's going to be more aggressive, even though Carnelossi has some serious guns on her right there. But, yeah, Carnelossi hasn't looked good in the UFC. Neither has Souza in some moments, but she just beat Bruna Brazil. She's not terrible. But, yeah, I got Souza winning this one by a dominant, probably 30-27 decision. And we're already going to move on. And that's to the next prelim of the night. Another women's flyweight bout, another unranked one. Chaves versus Yannis Duben. Hopefully I'm saying that one right. Duben just got chinned by Carly Judice in her last fight. And Carly Judice ain't that good. I'm pretty sure she's ranked. I don't know if Carly Judice is ranked. I'm not going to take the time to check. Chaves just won a split decision against another 6-1 contender on Dana White's Contender Series, some Argentinian woman. And yeah, Chaves has 3 KO wins. She's 6-0. Yeah, I think that she's going to be more aggressive in this one. I think she's going to go for it. She has some solid power in her hands. I actually did watch tape on this one. And I'm pretty sure Duben's been chinned. Oh, yeah, she just did get chinned by Carly Judice. And if you're getting chinned by Carly Judice, I think this lady right here is probably going to chin Duben. So, I got her winning by a pretty brutal knockout for a women's division. I think that Gisela Chaves is going to pretty brutally knock out Yannis Duben. And yeah, there you go. Chaves by KO. I'd say round 1. I'm going to say round 1 KO for Gisela Chaves. There you go. We move on to the next fight up the card. And that's going to be Jordan Leavitt versus Joe Anderson Brito. Hey, Danige, motherfucker. Hey, yeah, Danige, motherfucker. But Joe Anderson Brito, he's pretty solid. Who did he just beat? I think he just beat up some can at the Apex. He was in the last event at the year. He has a 48% takedown defense, and that's what I'm going to open up with because Jordan Leavitt just, he just beat up, Yair Del Valle by a decision, kind of just laid on him the whole time, if we're going to be for real. Yair Del Valle wasn't any good anyways. He had that betting scandal where he, the guy he was going against kind of took a dive and all that. So, if you don't know, now you know about that. That was Jordan Leavitt's last opponent. So I do think that, because Jordan Leavitt ain't very good on the feet, I'm going to just keep it a buck here. Joe Anderson Brito, he has really solid KO power for a featherweight, for someone of his stature. He does have pretty solid KO power. He got a decision win in his last fight and pieced up his opponent on the feet pretty well. But, a 48% takedown defense really is kind of deterring me. Because, it's not good when you're going against a crafty cockroach grappler like Jordan Leavitt, somebody who's all limbs. And, I don't see a finish here, and I don't see Jordan Leavitt finishing Joe Anderson Brito if this goes to the ground. I don't see him subbing him at all. I don't see Joe Anderson Brito finishing Jordan Leavitt when they're on the feet. Maybe if they're on the feet in the later rounds, I could maybe see it happening. But I feel like Jordan Leavitt's probably going to cardio mog Brito. Brito doesn't have that good a cardio either. Yeah, I'm going to go with Jordan Leavitt winning a dominant, boring, classic Apex wrestling decision, 30-27. And I think he's really going to expose Joe Anderson Brito's grappling. And yeah, there you go. We move on to the next fight up the card. Priscilla Cachoeira, hopefully I'm saying that right, versus Chelsea Chandler. I laugh when I say Chelsea Chandler because my burning memory in my mind of Chelsea Chandler is when she turned heel and ran away from Norma Dumont, which is, I think, one of the funniest things I've ever seen in sports. I kid you not. She was just she opened up the round. She was throwing these really stiff body kicks, lead body kicks, and it was just horrible, stiff striking. And then eventually Norma Dumont starts trying to throw some haymakers, and then Chelsea Chandler turns heel and runs away from her. like seriously runs away from her in a straight line and then like curves it with the octagon and then barely gets away from like a big Norma Dumont kick or something. But it was funny. I think that was in the women's featherweight division. I think that was like the last we've seen of the women's featherweight division. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was in women's featherweight. But yeah, they got rid of that with Nunes, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'd say Cachoeira is like, on the other hand, Cachoeira is the Terrence McKinney of women's bantamweight in a way. And it's funny that I'm saying that. But she is kind of the Terrence McKinney of women's bantamweight. She is very finish or be finished. She's a dog. She is a dog. And Chandler has horrid striking. So Cachoeira definitely has the ability to finish on the feet. She also has the ability to be finished for sure. Very ugly record, 13-8, but also Chelsea Chandler right here with the Justin Tafa record, 6-4. Pretty sure Justin Tafa is like actually 6-6. So that's saying even more. But yeah, you know, she turned heel and ran away from Norma Dumont, who ain't got the best striking either. Definitely not a KO threat. Norma Dumont is not a KO threat. She's good grappling. She's good at grappling. She's, you know, high caliber for the division. I know she just lost to Jocelyn Edwards, but you know, Norma Dumont has good grappling for the division for sure. You know, these girls, they do have a common opponent. They both fought Josiane Nunes, and Chandler took Josiane Nunes to a decision, but she did win. She beat Josiane Nunes over decision. Did she beat her? Did she beat Josiane Nunes? Let's check. Yeah, she beat Josiane Nunes by decision, but that was 2 years ago. Whereas Priscilla Cachoeira has a more recent win over Josiane Nunes, and she slimed her. She put her away by TKO, and I think that this happens to Chelsea Chandler. Chelsea Chandler has been put away by TKO. I think her most recent fight, she got put away. Yeah, she did get put away in her most recent fight in round 1. And I think Priscilla Cachoeira is going to do the same thing to her. I'm going to say Chandler gets slimed brutally by TKO in round 1. And yeah, there you go. We move on to the next fight up the card. Sorry, I had to adjust something. My OBS was tweaking out. Bruno Silva versus Edgar Chairez. Edgar Chairez has really only beaten cans. And he got dealt with by Tyra pretty well. He did fight Van, and he actually did do pretty decent against Van. Actually, never mind. I take that back. I was just thinking about some clips I saw of him clipping Van with spinning back fist. But Van did actually beat him up for some of the fight, but then Edgar Chairez started to fight his way back into it in the later rounds. You know, he's kind of dogging it out. Edgar Chairez is a dog. Bruno Silva, you know, he's good when he's on the offense. But when Bruno Silva's on the defense, when he's eating shots, he tends to crumble a little bit, and he's not that great. He's a pretty small flyweight. He's 5'4", 65-inch reach, kind of like a Van size, except Van's a lot more burly, you know, huge legs, really big calves, big thighs. You know, Van's like, he's kind of like this ball of muscle, whereas Bruno Silva's not. But Bruno Silva is still pretty decent. And, you know, also Edgar Chairez, he didn't get dominated. Like, you got caught, I got dominated. I got caught, you got dominated. But anyways, you know, Edgar Chairez, he got dominated. No, he didn't get dominated, actually. He was able to put up a little bit of a fight against Van in the later rounds, whereas Bruno Silva kind of just crumbled to Van. You know, however, Silva has more quality wins than Edgar Chairez and had a very close fight with Charles Johnson. Honestly, could have went either way. A lot of people are saying robbery. I don't think it was a robbery. I honestly scored it for Charles Johnson, but it definitely could have went either way. Charles Johnson had very low output in that fight, but Bruno Silva was probably hitting him with more shots, while Charles Johnson was probably hitting him with the bigger shots. So I think Charles Johnson won the fight, but you honestly could have gave it to either guy. But, you know, Bruno Silva competes with the best guys for sure, except for Van, who he got absolutely crumbled by. You know, he has good power, solid jiu-jitsu. You know, he submitted some guys in the UFC. Just submitted Hyun Sung Park now a long time ago, and I think that win will age pretty well. I think Hyun Sung Park is a pretty solid opponent. I think that Bruno Silva is going to win this one by close decision. He's got the experience advantage over Edgar Chairez, not by much, but by some. And Bruno Silva, he's got power. I don't think he'll put away Edgar Chairez for sure. Edgar Chairez is really hard to put away. Like, if a guy like Van is stinging him like that, Van was actually piecing up Edgar Chairez in a lot of moments. And Van wasn't able to put him away, and Edgar Chairez was firing back. So Edgar Chairez is a super tough guy, but at the same time, I think that Bruno Silva is just a level above. He's ranked number 15, and he's at number 15. He's stayed there for a long time for a reason, and that's because he is the gatekeeper to like the top 13. That's Bruno Silva. He's the gatekeeper to the top 13. That's a perfect definition for what he is in this flyweight division and what his purpose is. And I think that he keeps that title with a split decision win here over Edgar Chairez. And yeah, we move on to the next fight up the card. Not the featured prelim, but this would have been on the main card had Jakub Wicklach not pulled out of the fight, which would have been a sick fight. McGhee versus Wicklach would have been a sick fight, but now we have Marcus McGhee versus John Yannis. John Yannis is coming off a win, and Yannis beat, bro, like when I look at who Yannis beat, he beat Jamie Siraj, and no, not Yannis Antetokounmpo. John Yannis, he beat Jamie Siraj at UFC Montreal, or was it Montreal? It was Winnipeg, at UFC Winnipeg. He beat Jamie Siraj, and Jamie Siraj was kind of a soy opponent, if I'm being honest. Like, he kind of just got chinned, looked very rigid on the feet, kind of timid, looked like extremely nervous out there. So I think that wasn't a quality opponent at all for John Yannis. John Yannis also lost his UFC debut. He's pretty young in the game of the UFC, so yeah, I mean, he's not done very good. And James Siraj is kind of a guy that you need to put away, and he did do that. So John Yannis, he ain't a can, but like he ain't a James Siraj level can, but he's just a level ahead of that in the can rankings. You know, he's a better can. McGhee went, on the other hand, Marcus McGhee went tit for tat with Petr Yan. I mean, it don't get much more competitive than that. Their fight was competitive. It was a clear Yan win. Yan clearly won, I think, rounds 2 and 3. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure McGhee took round 1 off of him, because usually fighters take round 1 off of Petr Yan, but McGhee definitely did take a round off of him, which is impressive. You know, McGhee's a 35-year-old prospect, so that's impressive in its own right. You know, and a guy of Marcus McGhee's caliber and level, and a guy that can go tit for tat with Petr Yan like that, is going to absolutely make easy work of an opponent like John Yannis. And he should for sure do that, and if he doesn't, it's a huge disappointment. John Yannis taking this on short notice. Yeah, Marcus McGhee should be able to put him away round 1. Marcus McGhee by brutal slime out KO. Book it. It's going to happen. He should probably be more than a minus 450 favorite here. But yeah, there you go. That's my prediction for this. We move on to the featured prelim. No clue why this is above a Marcus McGhee fight, by the way. We got Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa. Hold on, let me give you guys. Yeah, there you go. Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa. I don't even have much to say here. Alessandro Costa by brutal KO. He's the number 1 can crusher in the flyweight division. Alessandro Costa, he just beat a guy. I forgot who it was. Who did Alessandro Costa just beat? I think that was the first event I've covered on the channel. Oh yeah, it was Nickel. It was the Nickel dude, Stuart Nickel, I think that's his name. Aussie guy. He's not very good at all. Not a good flyweight whatsoever. And Alessandro Costa put him away with a nasty body shot TKO. Matt Schnell, on the other hand, is the number 1 punching bag in the flyweight division. So you have can crusher versus punching bag. Like, perfect stylistic matchup for Alessandro Costa. And yeah, brutal KO win. If Alessandro Costa doesn't absolutely slime out Matt Schnell by brutal KO, and I know he's taking this on short notice, but if he doesn't do that, it'll be kind of disappointing. Alessandro Costa by brutal slime out KO. Not much else to say. We move on to the main card. Iwo Baraniewski versus Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa is back for, I think, the 10th time this year. When does this guy ever stop taking fights? Junior Tafa is a dog, and he never stops taking fights. It's cool about him, man. Junior Tafa is actually, like, I'm never mad about when a Junior Tafa fight's happening. When a Junior Tafa fight is on, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an entertaining fight. Slimer be slimed. That's Junior Tafa right there. But Iwo Baraniewski, man, he's a legit light heavyweight contender, and he could give several ranked guys CTE despite him only being 6 feet tall. He's a very small guy for the light heavyweight division. However, man, he's just got it's not even lighter man skill, man, because he uses his power. It's the Polish power, man. It's something about the Polish power. As MMA Guru just said in his recent video, man, the itchy Slavs, they got something about them. And I don't know if Polish counts as a Slav or not, but man, the Slavs, they've got that power about them. They've got that mojo about them. And yeah, they can slime you out. And especially a guy like Iwo Baraniewski, he's really legit. You know, if you slime out Ibo Aslan and Austin Lane like that, which, you know, every light heavyweight can do. Every light heavyweight can slime out Austin Lane. Not Ibo Aslan. Ibo Aslan's a little bit of a tougher out. But, you know, every light heavyweight can slime out Austin Lane. Don't get me wrong there. But, you know, if he can slime out both of those guys like that, I think he slimes out Junior Tafa badly too. Junior Tafa don't have the best chin. And, you know, Tafa usually, the thing about Junior Tafa, man, I just thought of this. The thing about Junior Tafa is he usually does get submitted because he has absolutely no ground game. Once we take Junior Tafa to the ground, it's absolutely wraps. He kind of just sticks to the ground like a blobfish at the bottom of the ocean floor. But, you know, he has no ground game whatsoever. And I could see Iwo submitting him round one, not gonna lie, because Iwo said, you know, he wants to show his grappling. He said that after his most recent fight against Austin Lane. He's like, I was hoping to show my grappling, but, you know, too easy of an opponent. It could be that situation with Junior Tafa where Junior Tafa is just easy work for him, and Iwo Baraniewski just bulges, you know, just bull rushes forward like a Sergey Pavlovich did against Telson Teixeira just a week ago. He could do that if he wanted to. But I think he's probably going to take more time with Junior Tafa, and I think this is going to be a slow slime out. I think he's going to get him on the ground. I'd say round one. I was thinking round two before I made this video. And also the thing about Junior Tafa that's different from Austin Lane is that, like, you're not going to put out Junior Tafa in the first exchange. Junior Tafa's a tougher dude, even though he has kind of a bad chin. He's a tougher dude. You're not going to put him out in the first exchange if you just bull rush at him. Usually that's the case. It depends what Junior Tafa shows up. So I would say, like, between knockout and submission, I'm just debating how Iwo Baraniewski wins. I know he's going to win, but I don't know how he's going to win. Between knockout or submission, I would honestly say submission. Because Junior Tafa doesn't usually just go on the first exchange like Austin Lane. I think Iwo Baraniewski's going to hit him with some big shots. And then, you know, it might not even stumble Junior Tafa, and Iwo Baraniewski's just going to shoot in on the hips. I think he's going to want to grapple this time because he says he wants to show off his grappling. So I think he'll double leg Junior Tafa, take him down, play with him a little bit, and then probably get like an arm triangle submission. I could see that happening for Iwo Baraniewski. He just submits him. Round one, Iwo Baraniewski submission. That's my pick. And yeah, there you go. We move on to the next fight of the card. Oh yeah, baby, Bryce Mitchell fight week. I'm hyped for this one. Bryce Mitchell versus Santiago Luna. Santiago Luna's a tough opponent though. I was hyped for him fighting Victor Henry because I thought it was going to be an easy fight. But I think I'm going to go with Bryce Mitchell regardless. And I know Santiago Luna's 8-0, scary Mexican prospect, all that. He's probably going to be much more of a dog out there than Bryce Mitchell. Well, actually, I forget, man. Bryce Mitchell, people forget, man. Bryce Mitchell has 0 striking. But hold on now, he did drop Edson Barboza. But that was low-key like 4 years ago. But anyways, that was a better version of Edson Barboza than what we saw against Jalen Turner. Oh my gosh, my dog's dying now. Just barking so loud. But in his last fight, you know, Bryce Mitchell, he looked a lot stronger and he looked a lot more physically imposing at 135. Whereas at 145, he kind of looks like skinny, like not skinny fat, because Bryce Mitchell was never fat, but he kind of just looked like no abs, kind of blobbed out for featherweight. He didn't look very strong at all. But now that he's moved down to 135, you know, like, we're gonna look at his physique right here. He just posted this on his Instagram, and you know, he's looking a lot better. He's got a solid physique, and yeah, I mean, Bryce Mitchell, he looks like a marauder at 135. So in his last fight against Said Nurmagomedov, he did get dropped once with the knee, which worries me because you shouldn't be getting dropped by Said Nurmagomedov. And that's what worries me about Bryce Mitchell's chin. He hasn't been put away many times, and he's only been put away by like Ilya, and he got submitted by Ilya. He survived a bunch of huge shots from Ilya, which impresses me. But, you know, he's only really been put away by Josh Emmett, Ilya, you know, only, like, he's been out-grappled and submitted by Gene Silva. So, like, I mean, Man, I don't know, man. I don't think Santiago Luna's on that level of a guy that can beat Bryce Mitchell. And, you know, Josh Emmett did kind of fluke him. If you don't have head movement, like Bryce Mitchell don't have the greatest head movement, not gonna lie. Horrible defensive striker. So I feel like that's a really good matchup for a guy like Josh Emmett, who's just trying to put you away with the big shot. Yeah, and I honestly worry about Bryce Mitchell's defensive striking and chin because Luna is sharp on the feet. I have to respect that about Santiago Luna. Luna also has good offensive grappling, and he showed off that in his recent fights as well. But this is where it gets tricky against Mr. Bryce, man. Mr. Crafty Bryce Mitchell himself. He out-grapples everyone except for Ilia Topuria and Gene Silva. Like, he dominated Said Nurmagomedov in the grappling. That's a Nurmagomedov. That's a Dagestani, by the way. He beat up Gracie in the grappling. He beat up Kron Gracie in the grappling. And I know Kron Gracie not that good and kind of wants to sit in the full guard. And then he got slammed and TKO'd by Bryce Mitchell. And I mean, like, he's not even terrible on the feet. Like, people think he's so terrible on the feet. He's not even that bad on the feet. Like, he's not as bad as Chase Hooper, and he's not as soy as Chase Hooper. Like, he's not, like, Bryce Mitchell's not soy at all. He just has a pretty bad chin, and that's not, like, that don't make him soy. Like, what makes him soy is just, like, teeping at range. Like, if he was just teeping at range and keeping the guy away from him at all times, and then when he gets close, he crumbles, like Chase Hooper kind of does, where he goes, when Lance Gibson Jr. is hitting him, you know, that makes you soy. He dropped Edson Barboza on the feet. We already mentioned that. And who has Luna beaten, man? Like, Luna's competition has not been great. Angel Pacheco by decision? Give me a break, man. You think this guy's going to beat Bryce Mitchell after beating Angel Pacheco by decision? I mean, come on, bro. You got to be making easy work of that guy. You got to be finishing it. I'm going to go with Bryce Mitchell via a crafty decision. Freedom! Freedom reigns! Bryce Mitchell, baby. Freedom reigns. All right, anyways, we move on to the next fight of the card. Ziam versus Tom Nolan. This is actually a sick fight. Guaranteed slime out. It's not going to be against Ziam. I think that Ziam's looking really good, and he definitely deserves to be ranked in the division. I think he's going to beat Tom Nolan. But we're going to break down why. And that's the whole reason I make these videos. Or else I would just post them on Instagram like Tony has died. He just slimed Nazim Sadiqov, who is a marauder. And he's not a marauder, but he's a decent win. Nazim Sadiqov is pretty good. He's only lost to a jobber on his debut 7 years ago, and Terrence McKinney so far in the UFC. And Terrence McKinney is just like running out there, you know, trying to get you out of there as soon as possible. And Ziam, you know, that was also in 2022. So Ziam's gotten a lot better in the last 4 years as well. And I think he's on like a 7-fight winning streak or something crazy. You know, other than that, you know, Tom Nolan, I'll talk about Tom Nolan a little bit now. You know, Tom Nolan's, he's definitely a decent fighter too. He's 4-1 in the UFC. He's on a 4-fight win streak. But the thing about it is, against who, man? He's fought straight jobbers, and he's beat straight jobbers. In his first fight in the UFC, he fought a jobber, and he got slimed out in a minute. So that's what worries me about Tom Nolan. You know, he can be caught on the chin. He can be slimed out in the first. He's only been beating cans. You know, he's beat... I can't even name the guys, but they've got absolutely atrocious records. As in the UFC, you know, there's one guy who's like 15-6, but he's 0-3 in the UFC, something like that. I can't even remember the guys' names. He's beat some Mexican prospects that they were putting on the Noche cards, and they ended up not being very good in the UFC. You know, he's only beaten cans, and he's beaten guys like that, like I just mentioned. Some guy with a 12-7-1 record that I forget about. I forget his name. I'm blanking out right now, but he's a Mexican guy. But I can definitely see Tom Nolan getting absolutely slimed by Ziam, like Nazim Sadiqov did in the first round. Wait, did Nazim Sadiqov go out in the first round? I don't know if he did. I'm pretty sure he did. That was on the UFC 323 card. Ball knowledge for you right there. I got Ziam by round 1 TKO. I think he's probably going to like land a knee up. No, this Tom Nolan's too rangy. 6'3", I forget. I think that Ziam's going to hit him with like something crafty, like maybe... I'd say he probably gets him on the ground at TKOs. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I forget, you know, Tom Nolan's 6'3". Ziam's not really an overhand left hook type of guy. I think Ziam will get him down. He has good grappling, and I think he'll pound him out for a TKO there. Yeah, that's what I think. How I think this fight's gonna go. Ziam wins it, and yeah, we move on to the next fight at the card, the co-main event: Brendan Allen versus Edmund Shabazyan. I still don't know why the UFC makes this fight. after Brendan Allen pulls off a major upset win on short notice against RDR in Canada. I don't understand that at all. Like, he just pulled off a win against the number 4 contender at the time, and I know Rainier Dorito is like number 10 in the light heavyweight division right now, or in the middleweight division. He's moving up to light heavyweight now. But you beat the number 4 guy. You deserve to fight around the number 4 range. Like, you can fight down to like number 5, number 6. You can fight up to number 3, number 2. You can fight Dricus du Plessis. I thought that was the fight that they were gonna make. I thought they were going to do DDP versus Allen, but they didn't, man. They gave him Edmund Shabazyan at the apex. I still don't understand this. But, I mean, regardless, I'm going to sing some praises here for Edmund Shabazyan's game. He's a good striker for the division and has solid power for sure. Pretty sure he's on like a 4-fight win streak. All kind of against canny opponents, though. He did beat Billy Elicana, which is a good win. But Brendan Allen is, simply put, a very good grappler who will get Edmund Shabazyan down without a doubt. Without a doubt, Brendan Allen's going to get down to Edmund Shabazyan. I think his takedown defense is like 66%, but that don't really matter because Brendan Allen's a guy who's going to get you down. Unless you're a really good defensive grappler or a guy like Dricus du Plessis who's just going to like headbutt you in the hip and use a flying anvil to get you down on the canvas. But, and once this fight gets to the ground, Edmund Shabazyan is a guy who got submitted by Gerald Meerschaert, man. GM3 submitted Edmund Shabazyan with an arm triangle. That's not a great look, man. Edmund's a guy who got subbed by Gerald Meerschaert of 2 years ago. Not even prime GM3, less than 2 years ago. It's August of 2024. I remember the date. Edmund Shabazyan got submitted by Gerald Meerschaert in 2024. That's, I think 37-year-old Gerald Meerschaert. Not a good look at all. That was Edmund Shabazyan's last loss, and I think his only loss in the UFC, to be fair. But actually, no, that was not his only loss in the UFC. He's lost a few other fights in the UFC. I forget he's actually quite a seasoned vet in the UFC. He doesn't deal with ground situations well, and you can see that in his fight against GM3. And I don't think he'll be able to keep this on the feet where he may have the advantage. I think the one advantage that Edmund Shabazyan will have in this fight, and some people forget, man, Brendan Allen's quite crafty on the feet, and he's not. Brendan Allen, he's quite chinny. He's, not crafty on the feet. He's, a teep and a body kick, leg kick heavy guy. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, and that's how all these jiu-jitsu first guys are kind of chinny like that. Brendan Allen is quite chinny. He got slimed by Strickland, in the dinosaur ages, but other than that, he's been put away. I'm pretty sure he got put away by Fluffy Hernandez too. Edmund Shabazyan, I don't think he'll deal with the ground situation against Brendan Allen well. I don't think he's going to be able to keep this on the feet at all, besides like the first seconds of each round. But I don't think it's even going to make it to round 3. I think Allen's going to get a submission in round 2. Brendan Allen usually takes a round to get going. He lost the first round against Rainier Dorito. Then after that, he gets going, gets the takedown, gets to work immediately, starts flowing between positions. Brendan Allen's a very solid and a very crafty grappler, even though I don't really like him. I don't like his fight style. I think he's going to submit Edmund Shabazyan in round 2. That's my pick. Brendan Allen submission in round 2. We move on to the main event. Belal Muhammad, man, it's time for the Chicago Grim Reaper to bounce back. Kareem Abdul-Lavash from Sausage Party himself, if you know what I'm talking about. This screams a classic Belal 49-46 decision win right here. This screams a classic Apex 49-46 Belal Muhammad decision win, unanimously decisioning Gabriel Bonfim out cold. Once and for all, after he robbed my boy Wonder Boy on the scorecards a year ago. It's finally going to happen. Belal Muhammad is going to decision Gabriel Bonfim out cold unanimously. I can't wait for it to happen. But I'm going to explain to you guys why. I'm Mr. Predictions for a reason. We predict these things. Mystic JJ MMA is my new name on this channel. Number 1, Bonfim lost to Wonder Boy last year, and I just said that. He clearly lost to Wonder Boy. No clue how he pulled off the split decision win. Those 2 judges at the UFC Nashville event must be like absolutely smooth brained. I don't know how you score the fight that way. There were some pretty bad robberies, or not robberies, but there were some pretty interesting scorecards that night as well. So whoever the Nashville refs were should probably be looked at if they haven't already been. It's been a year, so they should have been. But, he wasn't able to get it off his grappling against 42-year-old Wonderboy. And don't get me wrong, Wonderboy always has had pretty decent grappling defense, submission defense, even though Shavkat submitted him. Getting submitted by Shavkat, there's no shame in your game there. Shavkat is an absolutely phenomenal welterweight, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the UFC, in the top 15. As long as his knee goes back to normal, hopefully it does. Shavkat's a super great fighter. Don't mean to glaze anymore. He wasn't able to get off his grappling against 42-year-old Wonderboy, and that really worries me for Bonfim in this fight. And he clearly lost rounds 2 and 3. I'll give Bonfim round 1. I think he won round 1 against Wonderboy, but he did damage Wonderboy a little bit. But in rounds 2 and 3, he was getting off nothing. No output from Bonfim. It was all Wonderboy. Wonderboy was doing his thing, controlling the distance, leg kicking him up, stinging him with the calf kicks, the jab. He was Wonderboying out up there, switching stances, doing the little pop in his stance karate style. That still works for him in the Big 25 somehow. And I said the Big 25 because it's last year technically, but still probably works in the Big 26. He has, Bonfim does actually have solid takedown defense. Pretty sure it's like 76% takedown defense. But that's actually not very good looking into it, considering the opponents that he's fought. The opponents that he's fought, like the 2 best opponents that this guy's fought is Wonderboy, who he wasn't able to get any takedowns against, and Randy Brown. Randy Brown, dog. And he slammed Randy Brown, to be fair, which is what you're supposed to do, by a nasty knee. But, he hasn't wrestled anyone. He hasn't fought anyone who's a wrestling prototype like Belal Muhammad. He hasn't fought any offensive grappler like Belal Muhammad. And I think Belal will probably exploit that, get to his hips easily. Gabriel Bonfim, he's a longer guy. He's 6'1", has a half-inch reach advantage. Surprisingly, I thought he'd have more of a reach advantage over Belal. He looks like the lankier, longer guy here. So that's interesting in its own right. But I don't think he'll be able to dig the underhooks quite well against Belal because he'll already be deep on his hips. He'll already be, getting the takedown. He'll already be slamming him on his head just like he did Leon Mumblemouth Edwards. I think Belal's going to do a similar thing that he did to Leon Mumblemouth Edwards to Bonfim, except Bonfim's a more physical guy and he's more threatening on the feet. So Belal will have to pass, some mental blocks maybe to get to Bonfim. I think Bonfim may actually take round 1 off of Belal. I don't think Bonfim is a bad fighter at all, by the way. I just think that Belal's going to have to measure distance, really kind of feel out the fight, Piotr Jan style round 1. And yeah, maybe he gets a takedown at the end of the round, but I think Bonfim will probably control him on the feet round 1. And then round 2 is when the onslaught's going to start, man. Belal is probably going to lay on him for a few rounds. He's going to find the takedown. He's going to lay on him for a few rounds, probably rounds 2 and 3, maybe even 4 if he's feeling extra unanimous. But I think Belal's he's gonna lay on him for a few rounds, and once he gets going, maybe end of round 4, start around 5, end of round 5 for sure. When he's on the ground with Bonfim, he's gonna start landing some ground and pound shots, and he's gonna start making some gashes on Bonfim's face. Also, the other thing about Belal, man, is he's pretty solid and he's underrated with his boxing for sure. Belal is actually very underrated with his boxing. He damaged up JDM's face, but I think that after Belal lays on him for a few rounds, he's gonna rain down some ground and pound. He's not gonna. It depends how unanimous he's feeling again on this decision win. So another point to make is that Bonfim got put out by Nicholas Dalby, man. Yeah, I know he beat Randy Brown, who beat Nicholas Dalby by brutal slime out. MMA math is weird like that. But Nicholas Dalby actually did put away Gabriel Bonfim pretty comfortably by TKO 2.5 years ago, only 2.5 years ago. And that shows that Bonfim's chin ain't that good. And if he goes against a guy with more finishing threat than Belal, at least, I think he could get put out. Like, you put Bonfim against Buckley after this fight, I'd be scared for Bonfim. So yeah, Belal doesn't have the finishing threat. However, Belal is solid with the boxing. I don't think he'll need the Canelo hands for this one, though. I think it's like, he don't even need the ground and pound. He can just lay on him and cruise to a decision. Mr. Kareem Abdul-Lavash himself. He can just lay on him from Kareem Abdul-Lavash from Sausage Party, man. He's going to lay on him and just go to a decision. It's going to happen. And I think Belal's going to win by a 49-46 classic decision. He's going to unanimously decision Bonfim out cold. on the canvas. He's going to be exhausted laying there. He's not going to know what hit him. He's going to unanimously decision him out cold. That's all I have to say for this one. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Follow my Instagram at the JJMMA official. Follow my Twitter at the JJMMA. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.